Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of Tank Bankers, brought to you by Vintage Motocross Q&A. I'm your host, Joe Abbate, and we're back for another episode today, and it is Tuesday. We're going to be going over a couple of different things today, but while I'm thinking about it right now, I want to tell you about what's going to be on tomorrow's episode. I don't want to forget. This is a tank we've been using for some experimenting lately. This is we worked on a dent here last week, and this had to be cut out for a different project. But it's the thickness of this tank that I want to bring to your attention tomorrow. I'm going to cut out a section of this tank, and we're going to sand it and take a look at just how much material comes off while using a vibrating sander. They're 2 millimeters thick. We'll take a look at that tomorrow. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention before I got into today's episode. Today's episode is brought to you by the Moto Barn and George Ackerman. Be sure to visit the Moto Barn. He's got a beautiful display on his personal page, George Ackerman, and there's always an event going on there, usually in the fall and in the spring. This fall, October 25th, he's got the Moto Barn event. Happens from 10 to 4. Free food, free drink. There's a bike show, and the Moto Barn and the Mini Moto Barn. Got the Mini Moto Barn now, too. A bunch of great little mini bikes out there, along with so much other amazing memorabilia that George Ackerman has collected over the years. I was rearranging cameras here a little bit this morning. It's not always, well, this one came out pretty good. We've got a good view from above on the tank we're going to be working on today. And this one, well, not so bad, but you'll get a better idea of the sanding technique and the things I'm going to be doing there today. Brian Webley, happy Tuesday. All right, so what we're going to be looking at this morning is I've sanded this section. I've removed the bigger dents. I've got it down to where it's just got a couple of little ripples in it. I've got an access hole at the front. I've got an access hole at the back. The best way to reveal any damage is to sand the opposite way that you have been sanding. In other words, I've been going left to right here. Now I want to go up and down. Well, you may say north to south. I don't know. East to west. So I'm just going to tear off a little piece of 400. Put it on this sanding block right here. And without much pressure at all, I'm just going to go back and forth. And this is a step that you're going to end up doing right until you get down to where till you get everything perfectly straight. This isn't something that we just do one time and we just check it and it looks okay. No, you're going to keep doing it. In other words, after I lift these dents and I sand it again and do whatever it is I have to do, I'm going to sand left to right, up and down, and I'm going to keep revealing this until there is no more. That's what takes the time in these repairs, really. It's not so much, it is a lot to get the big dents down to a small dent, down to ripples like this, down to things you could just about see. That's a pretty good shot of it right there. But, getting it from that to nothing, that's what really makes a difference. That's what really takes up the time. So, got a big one right here. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with. All right. I'm going to leave it at this angle for just a minute. I'm going from my access hole. Right here. Got the magnets. Keeping it close all the way across the dent. You can leave the magnet. I don't always like to do that. I like to see those little dimples come up. But you can leave the magnet if you want to use it as a guide. Tomorrow night, Wednesday at 6 p.m., we'll bring you another live broadcast of Vintage Motocross Q&A. In fact, we have one of George Ackerman's Rickman Hodakas on. That will be a bike that will be featured in our Moto Showcase tomorrow night. Beautiful, beautiful blue Rickman. Frame has been nickel plated again. It looks absolutely beautiful. The wheels are done. There's just nothing on the bike that hasn't been touched. And you're going to see it tomorrow night. And I've even got a few videos of it too. It's Vintage Motocross Q&A tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook. All right. Now, let's get a little look at this again. We'll see how much we've brought up. And I'm going from here, which is a level area, to here. Let me change that camera. So you can see it a little bit better. I'm going from here, which is level. I can tell it's at the right position because down here I'm good. And out here I'm good. This is where my low spot is. And I'm only hitting in one area right here right now. So I've got some more work to do there. Always better to go back 2 or 3 times and do it 2 or 3 times and have it too low and have it all too high at once. All right. Here we go. That's looking a little better. Okay. Back here I got a big spot. A little large low spot. Right here. You see it clearly in the picture? Oh yeah, you can see it pretty clearly. Right through that whole, this whole section right here. Where am I? I'm right here. Okay. We're going to address that in just a minute. Please become a member of the Vintage Motocross Q&A page. I'll be able to see your comments. Very, very important to me. Right now, all I can see is Brian Webley. And once again, today's show is brought to you by George Ackerman and the Moto Barn. Be sure to visit them on Facebook. George Ackerman's personal page has all the information about the Moto Barn on it, and a big event coming up this October. Always a good one in the fall and in the spring. This one happens October 25th in Ruther Glen, Virginia. Free food, soft drinks, hundreds of bikes. You got the Moto Barn and the Mini Barn. All right, you got that mini barn now where George's collection is out there with all the mini bikes and memorabilia and all the cool stuff that he has collected over the years. All right, I'm going in again. Boy, I wish I could get a better shot. Should get a little bit of a better shot for you here. I don't know. I'm going to try it. I don't think I have any better of a shot for you, to be honest with you. Not by the way it looks, huh? You can certainly see the area that I was talking about that has that deep damage in it. Okay. I think I'm going to go back to this camera for a minute here. Al Roof. Aha. Apparently, Al, you have to be on the VMXQ&A site to see it. Because why? You're watching it from my personal page and I don't see you? Maybe that's it. Maybe you're watching it from my personal page and that's why I don't see you. But if you watch it from the VMXQ&A page, then you'll see it. Okay. I'm going back in with this guy. Use the magnet. Give me an idea where I am. Then we can prime away at it. Maybe I should stop posting it on my personal page as well. And just post it on the Vintage Motocross Q&A page. Kind of steer people over there. It'll help with viewers. It'll help me see your comments. This can always be a difficult section. Right here, it's not too bad. Once it gets over that bend, it starts heading toward the top, and I do have a couple here. It's difficult to get the leverage on it from either access hole. Heat is usually involved. I get them, but it's a little bit more of a challenge once they get over that bend in that tank. And when they're out in the middle, well, we're going to go over that someday. When they're out in the middle and you want to get the dents out of the top so you truly don't want any body filler and you just want the tank to be 100% straight. That is a big challenge, and I'll tell you about that on a future episode. See it there yet? A little hard to get to that one. Need to take a little break, boys. Come over and see who's here. Al says, I have to be on VMXQ Motocross Q&A site to see you. Your mad skills never cease to amaze me. Thank you, Al. Yep. But the video is the same on both. Yeah, the video would be same on both, but I won't be able to see your name unless you're on the Vintage Motocross Q&A page. Okay. While I'm at it, see if I can do this. Oh, but I can. Yeah, we'll be getting back to that tank banging business in just a second. But right now, I'd like to remind you that we do have shirts for sale for Vintage Motocross Q&A. $24.95 up to double X. For $3 more, for you rather large gentlemen, 3X, 4X, just $3 more, okay? That's shipping included. We take Venmo, Zelle, and PayPal, and you can get any combination of our logo or our Kurt Evan cartoon. You can get that on the yellow. You can get it on the gray, white, or black, any combination thereof. $24.95 up to double X. We take Venmo, Zelle, and PayPal. If you really want to be stylish around the grill or out in your shop, well, there it is. There's a T-shirt on John Cacaval. He looks really good there out in his shop with his Suzuki. And who would be a better model for our apron than Tom Miller? All right. Not only good in the garage to keep your shirts clean, a great way to keep your shirts clean around the grill as well. All right. Okay. I have to get that plug in for Susie. Otherwise, well, you know what happens there, right? We are back at Tank Bangers. I'm going to approach that other dent we have there right now. Trying to run a couple of different cameras here. Sometimes they're okay. Sometimes I don't really like the angle. But, yeah, we're doing the best we can. Thanks for tuning in this morning. We're going to be right up here now. All right, guys, here's what I got to do. And you probably can do it too. I'm going to take a little break. All right, we're going to hear from our sponsor, I don't know, we'll do the International Motocross Museum, or let me see what commercial I have that runs the longest, if you know what I mean. Let me see what I have here. Oh, you know what? This is a minute and 3, minute and 28. All right, minute and 28. Why do I have this picture up here of? Hang on, guys. Clips, show, tank bangers. VMXQ&A show. Okay, that's gone. No, it's not. Now it is. And now we are going to hear a word from our sponsor, the International Motocross Museum. And if I'm not back, well, just sit tight. I'll be back.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
All right, guys, I'm back. The International Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Be sure to visit them online today at the internationalmotocrossmuseum.org. Where was I? All right. Welcome back to Tank Bangers. Almost 9:30 already. We're going to keep on keeping on here for a while. I guess I could do this too, couldn't I? No, not that. This. Nah, that's not really that good. Let's just do this. Okay. Yeah, for you guys that weren't watching, maybe yesterday I was doing it or one of the episodes last week, this section of the tank is really pretty straight now. I'm going to check it again, like I told you before. And while I'm seeing, you could barely feel it. You can only see it because I've sanded it. How we get those little tiny waves. As I said, you could barely feel them with your hand. You could barely see them. You wouldn't see them. Like if I were to put a brush finish on this tank going one way, you'd never see it. Not that I wouldn't address it. I'm just saying you would never see it. But a way I like to get those little spots level. And you may have seen me do it before. You may have seen me do it yesterday. I don't know. This is pretty smooth already, but I like to take my ruler like that. Yeah, I'm just going to take a ruler like that. I'm going to take my 180, put it across that ruler, like so. Got it. Fold it over on the other side. Just about covers the ruler perfectly. And I like to lay it across here. And with both hands covering as much of the ruler as possible with firm but even pressure. Now, sometimes this will remedy the problem of having those low spots, or it'll just take it down a little bit more. I can get a better read on it by sanding it up and down again. Sometimes I may have to go back in with the tool to just give a little bit of a nudge on it. Or sometimes I go back again with a little rougher sandpaper. This is looking pretty good, actually. I've got one little spot right there. And I use this because of the way it bends. All right, it even bends, it even twists a little bit, right? See, it even twists a little bit. And you want that on this tank because it's a compound curve. Curves front and back, curves top to bottom. Always keep your paper clean. So you take something like this, keep the paper clean. Clogged paper doesn't do a very good job. All right, I'm going to go down to 240. I just used 180 on that one. I'm going to drop down to 240. Or I shouldn't say drop down, I should say go up. As the numbers go up, the paper gets finer. This is an old trick body guys have used for decades, except they usually do it with a paint stick. And you really want to get, this is even a little, this is, how can I describe it to you? I'll say it this way. Getting something flat or getting all the waves out on something that has a compound curve to it, top to bottom, front to back, you can put pressure on it and make this contour to what you're working on. You don't realize how difficult it is to make a flat panel flat. It can be more difficult than doing a compound curve. So a lot of guys would use a paint stick. It was firmer than this, and they would go down the side of that car with that paint stick, and they still do it today. Today they have different, they show you all kinds of things on Facebook, and if you look anywhere, if you Google it, you'll see 10,000 different things come up on your news feed about different types of sanding blocks. They're basically all the same. There are some differences. Some are made of pyro, plexi, blah, 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 plastic. They bend, they twist, but anyway, the premise is pretty much the same. But yeah, getting a flat, like when I work on Mako tanks, 74.5, stuff like that, the coffin tanks or the CZ tanks, it takes a lot to get a flat surface really, really flat again. Okay, so I've gone from 180 to 240. You know what? He's looking pretty straight. I'm gonna go one finer. I'm gonna go to 320, and then we're gonna check. Then we'll check it with the 400. So. To 20. Oh, you know what, guys? I have a question that came in yesterday. While I'm thinking about it, and while I could use a little bit of a break, let's go over here. Here it is right here. This question came in yesterday from Tim Whitehouse Sr. Has the welding process ever caused issues after all the work was done? No. I've never had a problem with a weld. In other words, I do all the work that you're seeing here today. I get it all finished up, at least 95%. I bring it to Daryl. Daryl welds it. Have I seen an issue afterward? No. The only time, and this is not Daryl's weld. This came in like this. I've got half this tank done on this side, and we've started on this side. But you see this? See that weld at the top? Elsinore tanks are notorious for cracking up in that section. It's not that it causes a problem afterward, but when Daryl goes to get in there sometime to weld it, and again, this chicken crap weld is not Daryl's work. When you go to get in there, sometimes there is gas, premix, all, gunked up in between the tunnel of the tank and the top layer of the tank. So that has to really be flushed out really well. Otherwise, it makes it difficult to weld. Weld won't stick to that. A problem with welding afterward? No. Nope. And Daryl is a really, excellent welder. So I don't expect that I would have a problem like that. I did I had a leaker at the back, but it didn't have anything to do with welding. After we got done doing the whole tank and it was welded, it leaked underneath at the back. That was my fault, in a way. Customer told me the tank was perfect. It doesn't leak. There's nothing wrong with it. I did all the sanding. Daryl did all the welding. And when we got down to it, we checked it afterward, and it did leak. So that entire rear mount had to come off, which requires you to grind off this weld. Of course, this one on this side, and this one on top to get the whole thing off so you can get underneath there and weld it up. There are some people who don't want to do that, and I'm going to take this guy's name. Wait a minute. I want to cover the guy's name so nobody sees it. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen there, but look, somebody just thought it would be a good idea. It leaked, and we'll just keep right on welding until it doesn't leak anymore. Crazy, right? But it happens. Okay, I have had enough of a break. I'm going back to sanding with the 320. When you are checking for straightness, this doesn't tell you anything. This doesn't tell you anything. Fingers closed, hand flat, straight line. That's what's going to tell you. That's what's going to give you an idea of if you have a dent, if you have a high spot. This doesn't do anything. Everything feels beautiful when you do this. Everything's great when you do it this way too, across, using your fingers this way and going across the tank. Lengthwise, and you'll feel it all through your hand and all through your fingers if there's a high spot or a low spot. All right. Let's give it the tail with the tape with our longboard. Here's a piece of 400. You could barely feel it. You could barely feel it. But it is there. Right through here. And that's where it is. And we're back in it again. I'm just going to go just to show you guys a little bit more of a visual, okay? We know there's damage all through there too, but I'm working right here right now, okay? And in a minute, you'll see why I want to do that, to give you guys a better idea of how this process works and what you should be looking for along the way. I'm keeping the tool close in there, as close as possible. Moving it, I don't even want to say a 32nd of an inch. It's right next to it. Practically touching the place I pried before. Practically touching it. I kind of rushed it. I mean, if I really was doing it, touching it every bit of the way, there'd probably be 7, 10, 20, you know, there'd be 100, 150 of those dimples going across here. On a very, very shallow impression like this, when you are lifting it, it does lift more of an area than just that little area that you're touching with the high point of the tool. All right, now over here we know it's low. I drew this line across here because I wanted to do this. Okay, it's taking the line off. Well, the line is still here, but down here the line is gone. And you can see on the sanding marks, they're even across the whole area. It's touching here, here, here. It's touching the whole way across. All right? Now, I could see some little dimples right here from where I was lifting it. What would I do in order to make that right again? Well, this is probably a little thin, but I'm going to hit this with the 320. I should probably go to 180. 180 and then back down to 320. One little low spot right here, just right here, a tiny, tiny little low spot. And I think I could get that out. I don't want to go back down and pry in there again, because then I'm going to make it too high. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hit it just one more time. It only takes a second. This is with the 180. $180. I'm just going to use the other side of the ruler. Got the 180 on this side. This is the 240. One more time with the 320. Okay. That's just me cleaning off this piece of 400. Now let's check our work. Got it now, guys? You have the marker that was all the way down here. It was low all the way down here as well as all through here. I just wanted to show you the difference of when you're popping it up a little bit, you're sanding it, getting it nice and even. Then you're going to take your 180, 240, 320, use the ruler trick, go around there, check your work with the 400. I'm good right here, right now. Very, very good. Really nice. Up here, yeah. That little spot there yet. We knew about that. But that about, I mean, here, let me see if I could do this and I'll give you an idea with the camera, with a different camera angle. And remember, it was all the way down here, right, guys? All the way down here. Can you see that? Okay. You can see it from this side. You can see it from the top. I realize I'm getting a lot of glare from my ceiling lights doing this. I'm going to try and figure something out, make some kind of shade or something. But anyway, there you have it. If you have any questions, send them in today. You can even type them right here. I'll take a look at this a little bit later on. Pardon me. I'll take a look at this later on. I'll see if there's any questions. If there are, I take a screenshot of it like I did with Tim Whitehouse's question for this morning, and I'd be glad to post it again tomorrow. We do this every weekday at 9 a.m. I try to go for close to an hour. It's a little more difficult to sand and talk than I thought it would be when I first decided to do this a couple of weeks ago. Last week was our first week doing it. I can get a little out of breath while sanding and talking at the same time, but we're getting through it. And hopefully you guys are getting some tips and some of the techniques that I use, and you'll be bold enough to go out there and try it on one of your own tanks. Okay. And it's, hey, Brian House, thanks for joining. Swamp Picker's here. Thank you, Brian Webley, Swamp Picker, Al Roof. Tim Whitehouse is usually here. He's been here every day. Anyway, as I was saying, Al said something before about you've got mad skills. I've got experience, Al. And that, skills come with experience. I'm not afraid to try it. I know how much pressure I can put on it. That all comes with experience. But the most important thing, and if you have it, you're going to need every ounce of it, is patience. Okay? I'm calling it a wrap for today on Tank Bangers. Don't forget, tomorrow night, we have Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be live. We'll have trivia, giving away another Jimmy Weiner, Tony DiStefano poster, all kinds of cool stuff going on. Specials from Motion Pro. And there was one thing I wanted to mention one more time this morning, and that was, hang on, I know what it was. This right here. George Ackerman in the Motor Barn. He was our sponsor for today's episode of Tank Bangers. And the Motor Barn has two great events, once in the fall, once in the spring. This one's coming up October 25th, 2025. That happens on County Line Church Road in Rutherford Glen, Virginia. I have been there. It is absolutely a spectacular time. You don't want to miss it. George opens up the doors, serves food, serves soft drinks, and there's a great bike show as well. We will see you tomorrow on Tank Bangers at 9 a.m.